What? No! 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 No, I killed him! Ah! That's awesome. Is there a viable X-Files build for a Necro? Not in Season 4. That was cool, though. New unique. Are they considered minions? I don't know. I don't have the item. That's rough. That was cool, though. Can you ask me a Barb-related question? You can. I probably won't be able to answer it, but you can definitely ask. What up, Indica? That was cool. I did also think he was dead, so I was like, oh, I've won. And then I did a die. OP Blood Wave. Shadow Surfer doesn't do damage, sadly. They nerfed its damage by 70% and didn't give us anything that would make its damage better. Hey, what do you got over there? You got helmets? That's chest armor. I don't need chest armor. Is this? This is PTR. Can you test PTR from Steam? No, you cannot. Or I don't believe you can. I guess I actually don't know the answer to that question. Well, I always play with controller? I have. All like 4,000 hours of Diablo 4 I've played on controller. Link to this build, it's in my Discord. Discord's in the description below. I don't remember if I've updated the Discord link. Did we update Bone Spear last night? Does anybody remember? I don't remember. It was a long day. If it's updated, it's in the description below. If it's not, it will be. Controller's great. You're a second-class citizen, but like, you're a pretty strong second-class citizen. You don't have to target corpses, but you also can't target corpses. Oh boys, I'm tired. Hey, I'm tired. Can somebody get me a bottle? Tired of what? Of being awake? I've never tried to answer that question before. I think the answer is of being awake, if we want to use the poetically bastardized use case of tired to say I am tired, as opposed to take it at face value. Have you ever tried to think of, like, the answer is of being awake, right? How else would you, what else would you use to describe it? Do I have a favorite build for season 4? Blight. Like, when we use the term like I'm tired of working, what you generally mean is that you are no longer fulfilled by the action and are instead drained when you complete the action and not refunded any of that energy or able to recoup that energy. But when you're saying I am tired, but to mean you literally are tired, the feeling of wanting to be asleep. Get bent. Nice. Perfect max resource. Only 1 to core skills. But when you say that, you are tired because it's not that you're actually tired of the concept of being awake, because awake only drains you. It does not recoup. Sleep is the thing that you recoup the energy to continue to perform the process of being awake. The whole process of living. So when you say I'm tired, but you mean that you haven't slept enough, how would you poetically describe what you are tired of? Consciousness? Tired of D's nuts? That's very good. I think you're tired of consciousness? What's the best way to get the new uniques? Seemingly either running the content itself or Helltide and Whispers. Well, sure, Anomaly, but when you typically say I am tired with no other context, what you mean is that you want to go to sleep. But when the question is asked of what, that's when we're using tired in a poetic way to describe how we're currently feeling about some type of interaction that we're having. So that's why I find trying to answer the question such an interesting thing. All right, time to test this crown. Let's see, does Starless Skies, a bit of essence per second, And Torment offset this enough. Oh, I need Torment going, though. That English is a nonsense language? Well, that's not English's fault. It's actually the issue of all of the progenitor languages that it borrows from. Like, it turns out if you try to do French and English and German and Polish and Portuguese and Spanish all at the same time, if you try to speak Germanic, Slavic, and Romance languages simultaneously, what you get is nonsense. Xenoshroud, thank you so much for the Prime. Let's just go to Kyowa Shad. I don't need to fucking see this on Monsters.
Subscribe to a bad content creator. You're a real one.
No, it's fixed, Andrew. Also, this helmet looks sick. It's so weird that they... Well, is it weird? We're going back to Hell, the realm of hatred. Guess it's all Mephisto themed. Wouldn't you expect this to be next? Well, the next season's gonna be short, though. So this only appears to be doubling my damage, which is good. It's ultimately what we wanted. 14,000 damage. $31. $31,559. Oh, hold on. $2,026. $2.25. Yeah, so it's Then how are people getting like quintillion damage out of this thing? Bugged interaction. There's a bugged interaction with Sork Pants, and there's a bugged interaction with like Poison Creeper. Yeah, this is exactly a 1.25. You didn't get a 25% roll with perfect maximum resource and perfect lucky hit and high max life? How do I feel Necro will fare on build rankings in season 5? No way for me to possibly determine that. I haven't played any of the other classes. Oh, unlock the look if I salvage it. How you get that helm? I got mine from Tree of Whispers.
Do you want to? Do you
Equip helm and show, please. This is a very cool helmet. What up, Doc? How does it look in purple? That's a good question. There isn't a wardrobe in here? What's up, Nowie? What's going on, boss? I need context. Drop the helm location? I got mine from Helltide. Sure. Oh, it's a new Mortarcrux? I haven't dropped it. It doesn't count as a skill. It has the macabre tag on it, which is like different. It's gonna be hard. The answer is it's going to be hard. Have I found Shard? I have not. I haven't. This is the first new unique I've found other than this one. Yeah. To list off all of the current Whisper dungeons that are also sigils. I've never heard that requested. I vaguely get it. But if you're just doing the dungeons for Whispers, it would like just be faster if it wasn't a Nightmare dungeon. They're not account bound. Well, if it's dropped from a Whisper, it is, right? Yeah, if it drops from a Whisper, it's account bound. Tried minion damage over time build. There's aspect for it. Not yet, crazy. That'll be today. Yeah, I don't misunderstand the value of it, Doctor. We are talking about a window within which you're still doing Glyph XP and you also care about help and you also care about Whispers. And that window is like 3 hours of gameplay. And then after that, it's just like strictly faster to not run Nightmare Dungeon versions of it. So I don't disagree that it has a value. It's how valuable it is. I get it. Like when I realized I just couldn't tell, I just gave up on that concept. That doesn't mean that's correct to give up on the concept. But I went, oh, there's no way for me to do this efficiently? Oh, I don't care. Well, Oh, I just don't. And I no longer care. Was kind of my takeaway. Painkiller, Killjoy, thank you for the follows. Marek, thank you for the follow as well. Sure, Otter. Inherently just too strong. Is it too strong? It's just too strong. This helmet is like by far too strong. There's like no world where this can be balanced in the current numbers that it has. Like, watch me do, like, I'm running my current build, which is, you know, I'm running my current build, which is able to do this. Permanent 100% uptime on Essence, right? Let me put on this helmet, which will increase my resource cost by 75%. A 100% uptime on Essence. That's too strong. You know what I mean? That's too strong. Not seeing a problem at all. Yeah, there's no downside. There's no downside to this item. This is only for Necros. Other classes have issues. Get bent, every other class. Why can't I invite you? Where'd you go? Oh, because you didn't exist. Oh, because now you're here. I don't believe that other classes can't solve this. How do I? There we go. Hey, thanks. The weapon says maximum resource? What is this wild? Wild. How come this season is a season of everything gives you maximum resource, so this amulet is going to be broken? Do a Bone Splinter build? I won't. Bone Splinter's bad. And I'm not done testing what I'm currently testing. But thank you everybody for the recommendations. Don't you hate on my Bone Splinter build? I'm gonna hate on it. This is insane. Do you actually run this on Bone Spirit?
Do you want...
How do you... Sorry, why'd the music stop? How do you manage... No, it's not about how do you keep up the thing. It's getting enough essence per second. Would a two-hander work for Bone Spear? In Season 4, yes. You want maximum resource for Locrins. It's a significant increase in damage. You don't have to use one, but I personally like it. The other issue being that... Oh! Okay. Test the new unique dagger. I don't have one. I also realized I'm currently using Great Feast, which is just fully eating this 7 essence per second. So like, I dropped down to 12 essence per second, right? And I'm 100% uptime with half of my essence per second being eaten. And then I put on this helmet. It on full stacks, it increases my essence cost by a whopping 3. This is too strong. Yep, you have to pick up scattered prisms. They said that in the patch notes. And like, I'm not using this resource cost reduction potion, right? Which, this resource cost reduction potion completely offsets the essence change of Lucian. This item is too strong, y'all. This is too strong. The helmet isn't just right compared to other classes because this helm is a generic helm. It's available on all classes. This is too strong. Hey, I'm gonna go ahead and say it. This is too strong. And that's with no essence generation aspect on, because this only works for bone. This is with no way of mitigating my essence cost through my gear. Me doing 5 million DPS is fucking stupid. Do you like my one... Hey, do you like my 1 point into Blight? Just from the helmet. Complete Bone Spear character. And me topping out at 6 million DPS. Do you like that? Do you like that? How is 5 million DPS stupid when Barb's rogues are doing billions of DPS? Well, let me show you what build we're looking at right now. So right now, we are a Bone Spear Necromancer. Fully built out to be a Bone Spear Necromancer. With a Paragon fully empowering a Bone Spear Necromancer and crit damage. With all of my gear slated to be a Bone Spear Necromancer. And damage multipliers, only relevant for being a Bone Spear Necromancer. Except I got this helmet on. And then I put on this one item. And then I cast Blight instead. And we actually just topped out at 7 million DPS. But it's Wither in the blighted aspect that needed to be nerfed. Ah! I hate it. Greater than Season 1? No, nowhere near it. Nothing comes close to Season 1 damage output for Bone Spear. This is silly. This is such a stupid item. Even just this, like, how much does it do even without the helmet? Bet you I'm gonna be upset. $3 million DPS topped out. John Post, thank you very much for the 5 memberships. I appreciate that. You're hitting 58 million bone spears, seems pretty good. Nothing can really compare to the Barber, sadly. Thank you very much, Sean Post. I appreciate that. I don't know if y'all remember seeing the Barber in action, but it sure did. Oh, now we got this. The worst part about the Barber is the Barber would then proc itself and then would re-eat the damage that it had dealt and then multiply it. Now you just need to solve for essence on other builds. It's just like Ring of Starless Skies and Crown of Lucian, like always, right? Where are the likes on the video? Oh, hey, yeah, if you're watching on YouTube and you haven't tossed a like onto the video, I would appreciate that. If you wouldn't mind doing that, that'd be pretty cool. That'd be pretty cool for your boy. Oh, I basically have it solved without Starless on. Well, Starless isn't a trap. It's a very easy tool for solving it. But I get what you're saying. I forgot that I had -7 essence per second on. But this is with our resource amulet as well. And this is missing either a resource aspect or resource cost reduction on a secondary ring. Usually with 19. Weapon can have essence cost reduction on it too. Almost like cool and all, the problem is it's generic and become another Barber Holy Bolt situation where it's just so strong that anyone is going to use it. Yeah, no, there's no reason to not use this. It says multiply your damage by 2.25. I think when we're expected to kill monsters with billions of HP, the Crown of Lucian is not such a crazy item anymore. Hard disagree. Every build will use this item. That's what makes it bad. I think it is perfectly fine for the pit to not be cleared up to tier 200 for like another 5 seasons. And the major issue being that there are already builds up at like tier 170, and they released that content this season. And that's before they add a helmet that says multiply your damage by 2.25 with no downsides. This is insane. What the fuck? What is the point of any of our gear having stats? Like, that's how insane this item is. I can't put I can't give you a 125% damage multiplier on a weapon right now, but I can on a helmet. It would be a nice change from running Shaco all the time, but like the majority of builds don't use Shaco, at least not on the Necromancer. Like, Shaco is not best in slot, it's just a very easy to slot on for people to feel pretty decent in lower content. There's a difference between people choosing to put on Shaco because it's very easy to use in a lot of circumstances, as opposed to people actually using their optimal helmets. Yeah. Like, this thing's insane. I can't think of a universe where this, like, hits live. Like, let's look at its competitor for damage on a generic helmet. Isn't Shaco best in slot on Blight build? No. It's not. It's just very easy to use it. Best in slot helmet for Blight right now has intelligence on it. But intelligence is capped now. So are we talking about current reality or a future where proposed changes are? In Season 5, what's best in slot and Blight? I haven't played the build yet. It would be pretty bananas for me to tell you what I think best in slot is. But the answer is still probably not Shaco. Skill ranks to Blight don't actually like positively impact your damage. Cooldown reduction is okay, but Blight doesn't really need cooldown reduction. Resource generation helps out a little bit with Blight spam, and then it gives some maximum life in DR. Whereas instead you could put concussive strikes onto a helmet. What do I think a reasonable multiplier cap for this would be? 50%? I got it from Helltide, or Whisper. Guido, I answered your question already. I now understand the context. Shaco says gain 20 DR. A helmet with concussive strike says gain 20% damage bonus. I understand that, Aaron. You are confused? I get that. It's kind of hard to like fully encapsulate how to bridge the gap between what are hypothetical best in slot, like fully optimized things versus what are very, very good experiences for people who are using a guide to have. And that's why we'll typically have something like a bossing setup that then shows like theoretical total max damage output or something like that. But guide writing is an art that needs to feed a lot of different types of people's need for guidance. And many more people will have a better time with a build if they're able to very easily put on 20 DR and a bunch of maximum life, and then gain a bunch of like cooldown reduction and stuff from skill ranks, as opposed to trying to survive, because they're never going to get to the point where even Shaco doesn't help you anymore. You just have to avoid all attacks. And by showing a higher damage option on it, most people will then have a significantly shittier time with the build. And people who need guides are looking to have a good time with a build. If that helps to give context. It's not currently creating 5 instances of 25. That's actually just like not true for the base helmet. The base helmet is just a 2.25 multi. It is not 1.25 to the 5th. It dropped from a whisper. It applies to other skills immediately, but not Bone Spirit itself. You have to trigger a cast event. Rapid ossification bug is not fixed. No, the helmet is doing the exact amount of damage that it says on the tin. It is misrepresentative to say that it is raised to a power of 5. It is not. It is multiplied by 5. There are other things in the game which are interacting with this in a bugged way, not the helmet itself. No, you don't use Selig on Bone Spirit because it's not a lot of damage. Sure, Truck. I also do list the best in slot stats for a helmet. You already get to have what you want. These are also listed, the best in slot stats for a helmet as well, for people who are interested in coming to understand the build. And I also have this as the highest damage value on a setup that's looking to stack the maximum amount of damage. Although you wouldn't end up using Blight Pull because this ends up being used in a speed farm setup as opposed to a boss push. What I really just need is a bossing tab here. And then that would bridge the gap. Do I know why they reduced Blight build? They said why. The blighted aspect is overrepresented and Withered didn't have a cap. And they've added caps to a bunch of stuff. This helmet needs to be run on every single build. Like, why would you not use a 125% damage multiplier on a helmet? It's insane. It's insane. No, the new helm is not a mythic. Would the helm be good for minions? Probably not. I haven't tested it, but there's just a really good chance it does nothing. I guess we can look at it real quick. Doesn't work on minions.
I need more essence.
Doesn't work for minions. Helm of Lucian does not work for minion damage. Cool. This is stupid. All right, I will be right back. I'm gonna get up and stretch real quick, and then I'm gonna think about other things I need to test on this thing, and then we'll cover it in a video. Oh man, that's wild. This thing's wild bananas. And before all the comments sections say streamers need to stop crying about fun stuff before other people get to play with it, this thing is fucking stupid. All right, I'll be right back. Ah. Oh, that's in the game forever, Lycotic. I gotta eat my food. But I'm being asked to show that optimized bossing setup for Blight. Is Bloodless the way to go for Blight now? No, that was a fever dream. This is currently 130. It's up to 152 is 22. It's 15, so it's this. I mean, it's actually multi-crit. Hold on. It's currently ignoring this, which is a 22. So we're at 70, 81. $83. Oh, wait, Sirach, are you here? What was the number? Was it 85 attack speed? What's the last breakpoint for Blight? $93.5. Yeah, so I'm at 22. At 90. 23.5. Yes, there you go. And then intelligence amount. I mean, you want the highest amount of intelligence possible. But you need to be at that much attack speed for max. Realistically, you don't care about decrypt size, you actually care about crowd control duration. We also don't care about this, you care about oh, we already have concussives. This is shielding. Void pull is like still fine, I guess. Oh, this needs to be this. You could also just use a like an attack speed potion instead. It's whatever you have accomplished, whatever you have got going on. So then what do I use here for more damage? Exploiters for the elite packs. It's pretty nice. I like void pulls even for what's it called? But you can also use exploiters. I think that's a little bit dealer's choice. Or you could just move concussive up here for damage and then put a mobility aspect there. Yeah. Yeah, have a good one, Rolls. Yeah, there you go. I meant to be eating that whole time and then I forgot. So, there you go. Now, have fun never acquiring this gear. Technically, you want GAs and all the intelligence as well, obviously. But I mean, you want GAs on everything, but on my mama, on my hood, I look fly. I look good. Okay. What else do we need to test about this thing? Oh. I guess this real quick. I saw somebody say something pretty interesting. Oh. What the fuck is making shit cold? Stop that. Stop. Stop. Huh. It only increases core skill damage? No, this is not increasing basic skill damage. That's the exact test I'm running. I'm doing 300 to 500 damage. I'm doing 300 to 500 damage. This does not work on basic skill damage at all. My new minimum damage should be over 600. Nearly 700. No, doesn't work for corpse explosion either. Hey, thanks, Reaper. Is it only things that have an essence cost? Thank you for the likes on the YouTube video. Huh. Helm of Lucian only increases the damage of skills which have a resource cost. This interacts with Baratheon to cause basic skills to cost essence.
My bags are full.
Huh. I'm going to, AJ. I don't know, Barbaric. I'm on the PTR. I don't know what's working on the PTR or not. You shouldn't think, unless you have seen a patch goes out that says that they have fixed something, you should not expect that things just get fixed without being announced. It worked for Evan Piercer's bolts, yes. It makes sense. This makes no sense. I understand the logic. Those are two very different statements. Starless Skies does not work in this way. See how I go from doing 300 to 500 damage? To now doing 500 to 600 plus damage? Starless Skies reads almost the exact same way. There's no reason to believe it wouldn't work like Starless Skies. Starless Skies reads, spending your primary resource reduces the cost of your skills and increases your damage by 10%. Lucian reads, each time you spend primary resource on a skill, you gain 25% increased damage. While their wording is not exactly the same, it both speaks to the same logic. You can't assume. No, you can't, guys. Each time you spend primary resource on a skill, spending primary resource gains you 25% increased damage. Gains you increased 25% increased damage. Spending your primary resource reduces the cost of your skills and increases your damage by 10%. Y'all cannot sell me on you should be able to infer a difference in logic from these two verbiages. That is the same fucking verbiage. Increase your damage, you gain damage. Sorry, y'all. You're not gonna sell me on this one. Where did my offhand go? And loss of essence is not the same thing as spending essence, but I guess we should check that. Where's my focus? Why is my focus gone? Hey, where'd my focus go? What are you doing over there? No. This is just negative resource generation, not spending essence. Bone Spear was never not a completely competent and viable build. It already pushes tier 120. Bone Spear will not be an S tier build with these items because these items are available on all builds. No, it doesn't only work for the thing doing it. It works for everything. Oh. Oh. All right, I think we're good. I think that the Helm of Lucian is the worst unique item ever added to this game, and I think our only saving grace is that there's no universe where this hits live in the current state that it is, and I wanted to demonstrate this thing as opposed to just kind of toss that out there for you all. But on top of that, we have been testing it, and I think that I can fairly confidently say that I understand the mechanics of the item. It's one of the more unique items in the game in that it kind of doesn't work how you think it would work, mostly because we have a second item, most notably Starless Skies, that basically does the exact same thing and works in the complete opposite way. So let's go ahead and talk about the helm. So let's go ahead and talk about this helmet and the fact that if this does hit live, enjoy Season 5, Crown of Lucian and Ring of Starless Sky with Locrins, because that's going to be every single build that you're going to see. So on paper, the Crown of Lucian is kind of straightforward, right? It has a smattering of stats, has core skill ranks on a helmet. That's kind of interesting. It has maximum resource, and that's why I think this thing is going to go hand in hand with Locrins on every single build, since this thing absolutely loves maximum resource. But the way that the unique aspect on this piece of gear works, again, calls back to another item by the name of Starless Skies, whereas this one will reduce your essence cost, Whereas this one will reduce your resource cost, this one will increase it. You're going to start off by just enjoying 75% reduced resource costs. So without this on, my Blight skill currently costs 24 essence. And then with it on, it drops all the way down to 6 essence. Bada bing, bada boom, baby. Look at how simple it's going to be to cast this skill. But it comes along with a caveat. Every single time that you spend your primary resource on a skill, you're going to increase the cost of every skill that you have, that cost resource, but you're also going to gain a damage multiplier. Now, right now, there's this weird thing going around where people think that the damage multiplier is multiple instances of multiplier. It's not. It is, in total, a 125% increase in your damage, or a 2.25 multiplier. It is, in fact, not 1.25 raised to the power of 5. It does not work like that. Very simple to test. I'll go ahead and show you it in game, but I just wanted to touch on that very quickly because I see a lot of people kind of perpetuating that, when in reality, this crown is just interacting with very specific things on the sorceress and doing quintillions worth of damage. Hopefully that bug will be fixed. But the downside of this helmet, and I put it in air quotes there because it's just not a downside at all, is that every single time that you cast a skill, it will increase your resource cost as well. So while you start off at -75, after 3 casts, your essence cost will be equal, and then at the end of it, you'll be costing an additional 50% of whatever your resource cost is. And that sounds like kind of a reasonable kiss and curse, right? You're going to do more damage. A 225% total damage on a helmet, keep that in mind. And your resource is going to cost 50% more. You cannot possibly manage 50% resource cost increase, right? Well, the fact that you can have GA, triple masterwork, crit on essence per second, not only on your chest as well as on your boots, and then resource cost reduction on your amulet, your ring, your offhand, and your main hand. resource costs are kind of a thing of the past at this point. There isn't really a give and take when it comes to resource cost. Every single build can immediately manage this issue, and on top of that, we also have consumable elixirs that further reduce your resource cost. But on paper, it kind of seems like this is a reasonable thing for the player to be able to figure out the puzzle of to gain the benefits of it. Now, any skill that costs essence will gain the benefit of this damage. So as you notice, I'm going to cast Blight here. I'll cast it one time. I get a single stack of the additional damage. And then as I continue to cast it, notice that our damage will continue to ramp up and up. And this buff will stay on our character. Now, the interesting part is that gaining this buff on your character won't then increase the damage of any of your non-spender skills. That's right, so your generator skills do not benefit from this in any way, shape, or form. On the Necromancer specifically, Corpse Explosion will not gain an increase in damage here. Blood Mist will not gain an increase in damage. None of your ultimate skills will gain an increase in damage. Neither Corpse Tendrils nor any of your minions will gain a damage increase from this. No, it is only for, very specifically, skills which have an essence cost tied to them. Now, again, that also on paper kind of makes sense. The item doesn't say that in any way, shape, or form. And in fact, Starless Skies, which also doesn't say that in any way, shape, or form, actually does increase the damage of everything else. If you use Starless Skies and you were to get up to max ranks on it, you will then increase the damage that you output from a basic skill. So here I'm doing like 800 damage and let it run out. And now I'm critting a lot here. But what you'll notice is that my base damage is somewhere around 300 to 500, and then after triggering Ring of Starless Skies multiple times, my damage will then increase up to the 600 to 900 damage range. So Starless Skies works with anything that you have that does damage. Crown of Lucian does not. It only works on spenders. The cool part about that, unironically, is that you can use something like Shard of Varathiel, which is going to make your basic skills have an essence cost. So if you see me using Hemorrhage here, I start off doing about 2,000 damage, but then as I get my stacks up, and whenever it's not a crit damage, you'll notice I'm now doing significantly more damage, 5,000 to 6,000 damage. So I think that that's actually very cool. While it only works with skills that have a cost attached to them, it will work with things that then add a cost onto your skills. Another interesting thing to note is that things which drain you of essence, so the Great Feast here will actually drain me of 7 essence per second. This does not count as an essence cost. It's actually just negative essence generation. So this will not naturally trigger Lucian for you. But now let's start talking about why I think that this is kind of the worst designed unique item that I've ever seen in the game. And I don't mean it's not cool. I don't mean it's not powerful. I don't mean that the sick transmog of it isn't one of the coolest things I've ever seen. The item is insanely badass. This is super mega cool. It just completely spits in the face of the exact mission statement that we were sold on recently for the Campfire of Season 5 PTR. Which is that they want to overhaul unique items in this game, because most notably, the majority of them are kind of seriously underperforming in comparison to their legendary counterparts, because none of their stats were increased. And they are hoping that in a universe where people are playing at like a comfortable or healthy level, most builds are going to be running 2 to 4 unique items. Right now they're running 0 to 2. And then on top of that, unique items would not just be generically good across the board for every single build and every single class. You should be forced to build around your unique item and build into its fantasy to gain the benefits of it. The Helm of Lucian says, put this onto every single build that has a cost associated with the skill that it uses. No question, it's a helmet that gives you 125% damage boost. Very few items in the game that are meant to increase your damage can afford you that same benefit. Take for instance this sword. This sword is going to increase your basic skill damage by 300%. Only basic skills You have to use a very specific skill, and these are skills that naturally do a very small amount of damage, a 30% modifier here, as opposed to my core skill, which is doing a whopping 150% damage. This is a weapon, and a unique aspect on a weapon at that. Most damage multipliers that we get in this game, even just a contemporary version, like the Godslayer Crown. Godslayer Crown says that you can gain up to a 60% damage multiplier for 3 seconds every 12 seconds against a boss. Lucian says you do 125% bonus damage as long as you can solve its puzzle. Now let's look at how hard it is to solve this item's puzzle. So what you're currently looking at is my Bone Spear Necromancer Deathless Visage. I'm using, the typical setup, and we're testing out a couple things. On top of that, I'm actually using Great Feast. So right now, if you were to very quickly look at my essence, you'll notice that while I'm outperforming the negative resource cost here, I'm actually losing essence every once in a while. So on this build where I have a Greater Affix essence here, but I actually don't have any Masterwork crits on it, a Greater Affix essence per second here, where again, I don't have any Masterwork crits on it, I'm going to be using something like Ring of Starless Skies. And what that means is right now I am infinite on essence. Once I have 5 stacks of Starless Skies on, I have permanent uptime on near 100% of my essence. So you might assume that in throwing on Lucian, this constant dip of my essence is going to be drastically increased, right? An additional 50% essence cost. Well, let's go ahead and put on Lucian. I'll go ahead and put that on right now. Bada bing, bada boom. And we get our stacks of Starless Skies up. Can you actually see a difference? Because I physically can't see a difference. It is the exact same amount of essence that I was generating previously. Now, I hear you though, Mac, that requires you to be using an Uber Unique. Not a difficult thing to get nowadays, but I hear you. Let's take off the Uber Unique, absolutely. Now let's just see what it looks like now. Okay. All right, now we're actually seeing some essence loss there. It's actually pretty cool. That's like a difficult thing for us to be able to overcome, right? Well, I can also just drink this potion right here. That'll just reduce my essence cost by 20% and naturally feed me more maximum essence, which is something that Bone Spear wants, and also something that will feed into Lockrins very naturally for more damage. Let's see how this performs here. Alrighty. Here we go. All right, it's still not infinite essence. It's drastically increased essence performance, but it's not infinite essence. But then you also realize that I'm not wearing a ring that could have even more resource cost reduction on it. Just go ahead and toss on this thing. It also, I'm only using the base Torment, the thing that you would use on every single version of a Necromancer build, obviously, right? This is what you use if you're doing Bone Spear, but I could put on a second resource aspect ring here, and let me just go ahead and toss this thing out there. Alrighty. Ooh. All right, we're still not infinite, but resource cost is now